parts here. So muscles, the names of the muscles are typically derived from one or more of these following 7 characteristics. So the best way to do this is just look at some examples, so let's go. Here are some muscles named based on their location in the body. The biceps brachii is the muscle that contracts when you flex your elbow. So it's this muscle right in here, and the part that's named based on its location is the brachii part. The part of your arm where it lies is called the brachial region, and that's your upper arm region. So the brachial region is kind of like around in there. Another muscle named based on its location is the vastus lateralis, and the lateralis part is why it has its name. So here's the vastus lateralis, and it's this muscle right here. And usually if there's a vastus lateralis, there's going to be something that's the opposite, and that's exactly the case here with the vastus medialis, which is shown right about there. So knowing that muscles are named based on their location can be a helpful tip. Another thing that names are based on is their function. We're going to learn the muscle movement called adduction. This is a movement that if I'm going to do a poor drawing here. So this is a stick person, and they have one leg like this, and here's their arms. So if they go from having their leg out like that to standing in a normal position, so this person's their right leg goes from an extended away from the midline to moving towards the midline. That's called adduction. A muscle that does adduction of the hip is called the adductor longus, and so that's why it's called adductor, because it's involved in that motion called adduction. Another muscle is called the masseter, and it's this muscle right here, and this is derived from a German word meaning to chew. So masseter's function is involved in elevating the mandible, bringing the mandible closed against the maxilla, and that's chewing, so that's why it's called masseter. Another way muscles are named is by their shape. A lot of times it's going to have oid in it, but it doesn't always have to. So in this case, the orbicularis part doesn't have oid in it. So deltoid means that it's shaped like the Greek letter delta, which is like that, and the deltoid muscle looks kind of like a triangle, especially when you look at it from a lateral view. The orbicularis oculi is this muscle. That's the orbicularis part, just talks about how it encircles the eye. Next, I don't remember, I think this is number 4, is the direction of the fibers, and this is most commonly seen in the abdominal muscles. So there's rectus abdominis, and that's these right here, and what rectus means is straight up and down. So you can see this is kind of like the six-pack abs, and the muscle fibers run straight up and down, so that means rectus. And transversus means kind of across or horizontal, and your transversus abdominis muscles are right here, and those muscle fibers run across, and then your obliques run diagonally. Diagonal. And your obliques, you have 2 sets, your external obliques and your internal obliques, and it looks like one set is right here, and those muscle fibers run diagonal. So just knowing those 3 words, rectus, transversus, and oblique, can help you a lot with the abdominal muscles. All right, next is the number of heads. So biceps means 2 heads, and triceps means 3 heads. So your biceps brachii actually has 2 heads. They're called the short head and the long head. And here's one head, and then here's the other. And you'll notice that they are just essentially two parts of the same muscle. The triceps brachii has 3 heads branching off of this one muscle belly here, and those 3 attach to the humerus and the scapula. Triceps, 3 heads, biceps, 2 heads. All right, next is the points of attachment. Here's a mouthful, and this muscle actually sounds a lot worse than it is. It's the sternocleidomastoid. But if you break it down, it tells you exactly where it attaches. This muscle attaches at the sternum, and here's the sternocleidomastoid right here. So it attaches at the sternum, then it attaches at the collarbone, that's cleido, and then it attaches at the mastoid process, which is a marking on the skull, if you remember. All right, another point of attachment, if you look at the tibialis anterior, that's this muscle, and you can see that it's kind of like location and attachment. It attaches to the tibia right here, just proximally to the tibial tuberosity, and it's on the anterior side of the tibia. All right, lastly is the 7th way that muscles are named is by their size. And a good example here are the gluteal muscles, the gluteus maximus, the gluteus medius, and the gluteus minimus. Now maximus is going to mean something really big, so that's your gluteus maximus, your gluteus maximus. The gluteus medius is in the same region, the gluteal region. So it's named based on its location and its size. The medius is the middle-sized one, and the minimus is the smallest size one. So other words that you might see related to size is something major versus minor. In one class today we talked about the rhomboideus major and the rhomboideus minor. There's longus and brevis, adductor longus, adductor brevis. Latissimus and longissimus are 2 words that have to do with size, and as are magnus and vastus. A lot of times there will be a paired one. So if there's a gluteus maximus, there'll be a gluteus minimus. If there's something major, zygomaticus major, there'll be a zygomaticus minor. And then these ones, longissimus, magnus, vastus, and latissimus, are ones that are by themselves, and those just kind of all mean pretty big. All right, here's what I want you to know about the muscles. And some of this, you'll be picking this up along the way, so if it seems intimidating now, don't get intimidated. The reason I'm doing this isn't to scare you, but to let you know what my expectations of you